Hey Internet, it's your old friend Dominic here with the All-American Casino Guide. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already watched our tutorial video on the basics of Caribbean stud poker, make sure to open a new tab and check out that video first before watching this one. So when it comes to Caribbean stud poker, there are 4 strategies that I'm going to be talking about today. The first and most important is don't play the progressive bets. This is really the most important piece of advice I can give you. Like most progressive jackpots, they look really enticing. You've got these 5 different hands that you could potentially hit in order to get a share of that progressive jackpot. But the truth is though, the odds of making one of those 5 hands is astronomically low. So low, of course, that you really will not ever make any money on your investment, and your chances of hitting one of these progressive jackpots is just not a winning strategy. And in fact, the actual house edge in most cases with the progressive jackpot is around 26%, which really should show you how unfavorable this particular bet is. By all means, of course, play that progressive jackpot if you're the kind of player who's out to have a good time or someone who's just looking to throw a little bit more thrill into your gamble.
A winning strategy sometimes necessitates sacrifice.
But in the long term, in my opinion, the progressive betting strategy is not a winning strategy at all. My second piece of advice is to play any single hand that has at least a pair in it. And by bet, I mean put that extra wager in so that you can actually compare your hand versus the dealer's and potentially win on your bet. So as just a quick refresher, in Caribbean poker, you put an ante down before they even deal 5 cards to you. But then you're required to make a second bet in order to actually compare hands against the dealer. So if you have a pair of anything, and I do mean anything, even a pair of 2s, it is a statistical advantage to play your hand against the dealers. And especially in situations like this, where the dealer is going to have one face-up card, and in this particular case it happens to be a 4, and you have a 4 in your hand, which essentially is a blocker card. You know that the odds of them having a 4 elsewhere in their deck is, or sorry, in their hand rather, is going to be mitigated. There's going to be less of a chance that they're going to have matched up that 4 because you happen to be holding one of the only other 4s in the deck. My third piece of advice is to fold any hand with less than an AK. If you're playing a 5-card hand and you happen to have less than an ace and a king, or the AK, then realistically, you are in a very bad position, okay? Even in situations where you have blocker cards, like I show you again here, my face-up card is a 3, you have a 3 in your hand, so again, the chances of them pairing up that 3 is less now because you have one of the cards they need, but without an ace or a king, you really are not in a very good actionable position. So you should be better off here just tossing your hand and losing that initial ante versus doubling your ante bet in order to compare hands against the dealers. Essentially, quick rule of thumb, if you don't have at least an AK, fold every time. My fourth piece of advice, inversely, is if you do have the AK, the ace and the king, then you want to definitely play if your opponent is showing a queen or less, in this case a jack. And again, this is another one of those situations where you have a jack in your hand and their up card is a jack as well, so you know that this is a blocker card that's potentially lowering their odds of having anything better in their hand. It's not a massive advantage, but it certainly is an extra piece of information that you should be thinking about when you make your educated decision to increase your bet or not. If you're holding the AK and the dealer's up card is a queen or lower, feel very confident doubling your bet and comparing hands against the dealer. Inversely though, if the dealer's card is an ace or a king, but you have a queen or jack as well, you could probably play that hand because of that same blocker card scenario I was talking about earlier. So I really hope you enjoyed that brief 4-point tutorial on strategies you can use while playing Caribbean stud poker. It's a really fun game invented by Captain Jack Sparrow, I think. But if you have any strategies that you've used while playing Caribbean stud poker, or there's anything that I've neglected to mention, make sure to go ahead and leave those as a comment down below. And while we're on the subject of asking us to do favors for each other, do me a big one and clickety-clack that like button and pump that big red subscribe button while ring-a-ding-ding-ing that notification bell, because you'll be notified every single time we upload a video like this or any of our other great tutorial videos up to the channel. Guys, my name's Dominic. This is the All-American Casino Guide reminding you, play responsibly.